Hello and welcome to Super Lady Hero Hour Season 2 on Fanversation. I am your co-host, Yael Tygiel. Joining me as always is my other co-host, Kay-B. Hello.
Hello. Wow, thanks guys for joining our show. We are at Season 2. We are thrilled to be back with some brand new fall, I'm going to put that in quotes, TV premieres because it's actually winter. But here we are, and before we talk about the premieres of WandaVision and Batwoman, man, let's get into some news. So first up, maybe Chris Evans knew, maybe Chris Evans didn't know that, there's potential for him to return to the MCU as Captain America. Chris does a lot of things on the internet. He plays with our emotions 24/7. So he acted like he didn't know, but I'm pretty sure he did know, and that he's in talks to maybe come back. My only concern with this is that, naturally we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier about to come out on Disney Plus. And so, Steve rode off into the sunset with his boo. Rather, he went back in time and rode off in the sunset with his boo. And we are just now getting a new Captain America. We're getting the shield again. And so I'm kind of like, do we need Chris back? Do we? I loved him as Captain America, but do we?
Those are great questions. Dewey is a great question. I'm not surprised. I feel like the only person I expected to not be seeing again was Robert Downey Jr. I felt like even though Chris Evans, Steve Rogers completed his storyline, I still was like, yeah, we're gonna see him again.
Do you feel like it's because he didn't die? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you didn't die, then I assume you're gonna come back, as that was kind of your whole thing.
Maybe, because I'm also thinking in my head, I'm thinking of Hugh Jackman and Logan and his choice that Logan was the end, which sure. But it feels like, I guess it is death that makes it final, but also time travel. Like, anyway, I don't know why I didn't believe it.
You're like, I didn't believe it from the beginning, but it's so funny because I don't know. I feel like Hugh Jackman will come back now that, Marvel has and Fox are back together. I need to see him. I need to see Wolverine with Deadpool. Like, I actually need that in my soul. So I don't care if he comes back for 30 minutes. I need that camaraderie. I need this to happen. So I'm hoping he will come out of retirement for that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, what Steve does in phase 4 of the MCU. I feel like he's probably going to come back for Spider-Man because literally everyone on the planet is going to be in Spider-Man 3. So it would make sense for Captain America to join us there because here we are. But also, to your point, time travel. And also, we'll get into it a little bit later, WandaVision, time travel, the multiverse. So there are a multitude of ways that we can probably see, Steve Rogers' return, for sure.
Yes. Let's head over to the DC EU. So exciting. The Snyder version, I'm not calling it the Snyder Cut because it's just a new version. The new Justice League, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Every day it's new news. This was supposed to be a 4-part, hour per part length extravaganza on HBO Max, and it is now back to a movie, but it's still 4 hours.
Honestly, I'm so grateful that it's going to be on HBO Max because I can pause and go to the restroom, eat food, do all of those things that was exceptionally challenging to do in the Avengers. I was like, I really have to go to the bathroom, but I can't miss this. So I'm just going to have to manage. Now it's on HBO Max and I can firmly pause whenever I want to that's a blessing to me. It's like the greatest gift. I'm like, sure, whatever. Because I also kind of didn't want to have to wait in this 4-part miniseries for like each episode to drop, because I assumed it would be like 4 weeks, like one per week. And I was like, I kind of don't want that. So it's great now that it's a movie, because listen, we can do what we want and it'll be available all at once. So, why not?
I agree. I think that is a blessing. The other blessing that was announced is that there will not be a post-credit scene. So it's 4 hours and then credits and you're done. No offense.
I mean, did you think the credit was going to be like 30 hours after? Like, it would be like a whole nother 30 minutes for the post-credit scene?
I mean, credits keep getting longer and longer. But I think it's, I thought it was going to be 4 at once, 4 parts that were going to drop at the same time. Because otherwise, I don't know. It just seems like a lot. It's so much. I'm going to watch it. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely watching it. I mean, honestly, at this point, even if you don't think it's going to be good, like, you're still going to watch it because you're intrigued by how much they're putting into this. Like, they're doing everything under the sun to make this come to fruition. Even if I wasn't interested in comics or the superhero genre, which clearly I am, but even if I weren't, I'd still want to watch this because there's so much news around it. Like, every week I would be like, I have to see this film. Like, what is happening? So yes, come on. It's still not coming out until March, right? I think it's March.
Yes, it is set for March still. Allegedly, it's still going to be competing with Godzilla versus Kong, which is also going to be in March. But between now and March, anything could happen.
Well, Godzilla versus Kong is still Warner Brothers, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, yeah. So they're competing against themselves and they'll both be on HBO Max. So it's really like...
Is it a competition if it's on a streaming service I watch in my home? Because that means I watch one Friday, the next one Saturday. Like, that's not a competition. I don't have to pay and go to a movie theater twice. I have it.
Well, they're still doing theatrical releases though. So I think from a box office standpoint, they're probably, they're still doing some sort of release. So maybe that's the competition for them. I mean, for me, I'm probably going to watch both on Friday. I'm just going to stay up late and be like, I'm going to watch both of them. So why not?
6 hours. 6 hours you're investing.
6 hours, but I can pause. So I don't mind.
That's true. Moving along, speaking of HBO Max, still Doom Patrol season 3 is back in production. We covered season 1 and 2 here on Super Lady Hero Hour for our first season. I absolutely love this show, and it ended on a ridiculous cliffhanger. So due to COVID, so season 3 is back in production. I cannot wait for more episodes.
I hope Dorothy dies. I hope she dies. I'm sorry.
My hope is that it's not week to week, but I guess that is also a hope that Dorothy dies.
I hope that Dorothy dies. Like, I don't want to continue down this path of Dorothy. Like, I'm fine with everyone else. I just let's just end it, man. Dorothy and Chief, both of them can go, season 3. And let's
all right.
let's keep the core group. I want to know more about everyone else and where we're going. I also think though, honestly, I say that in jest, but I do think from a creative standpoint, I think the team was much stronger in season 1 when Chief was missing. And so I do think it allows the other characters to flourish in a way that we don't get to see because it is such a large ensemble. So I do think that in order for that to kind of bring that magic back, they would have to sideline Chief a bit. You know what I mean? I just think that they worked so well together, when they were looking for Chief and when that was a big mystery. And I really enjoyed that. So I say that all in jest, but in all seriousness, I actually really hope that we can kind of get back to the way it was in season 1. So.
Also, if you would like our more complete thoughts on Doom Patrol, you can check out season 1 of Super Lady Hero Hour.
Yes, we get into it, and we really enjoyed season 1. And then season 2 was like, ta-da! But also, it wasn't their fault. So now, let's see what happens.
There's some rumors going on that we want to bring up. tell us about this Thor rumor, KB.
Yeah, allegedly Matt Damon is gonna be in the next Thor film. Allegedly, he just touched down in Australia, ready to shoot. They don't know what character he's playing. It is interesting since, you know, he has been in the MCU previously. You know, technically he was in the last Thor film. You know, obviously it was a spoof, but I'm curious. I'm curious to see if this is actually true and what's going to happen. You know, Matt Damon hasn't been in any superhero films, right? Like, I mean, an actual character, you know, not a.
No, he's just been cameoed. He was also in Deadpool 2 as a little itty bitty cameo.
Right. So yeah, I mean, this will be interesting for him to have like an actual large role. I'm curious if he's going to be another villain. You know, we already know that Christian Bale is going to be in this film and he is the main villain, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but I'm curious to see what that would look like. I'm intrigued.
It's still a rumor, could be false.
He could be in Australia on vacation. I mean, you know, who knows?
Allegedly, he's quoted as saying that he's moving to Australia. So
I do not blame him. So here we are.
Other rumor is that Mysterio is going to be appearing in the third Spider-Man movie. That said, everyone is appearing in Spider-Man 3, so I'm not surprised.
Like I said, Steve Rogers. He'll also be in Spider-Man 3, apparently. You know, I'm just going to toss him in there because literally everyone. Which clearly means this is definitely going, in my opinion, this definitely has to be a heavy multiverse film. Like, I mean, we already have 3 Spider-Mans, you know, like, we're definitely tackling the multiverse. And if we don't, then I'm going to be wildly disappointed because I'm going to be like, why are there so many people in this film and we're only in one universe?
I mean, if it's not, then I am going to be so excited to see how they choose to do this.
Right. And why? Like, what are we doing?
Also a great question. Yeah, that is, those are our headlines for this week. I think we should head into WandaVision. I will remind everybody very quickly before we jump in that this is going to be full of spoilers for the first 2 episodes of WandaVision and the first 1 episode of Batwoman season 2. This is your spoiler warning. I should 100% make a graphic, but I didn't. So,
Next week.
Spoiler alert. If you have not watched, stop this video.
And watch it after you've watched the episodes because they're at Disney Plus. It's out now. So do that. Watch those 2. And Batwoman is out depending on where you live. So, you know, just give it a little bit, maybe a couple more hours and you're good. But yes, spoiler alert. And spoiler alert, next week, maybe we'll have a graphic. Maybe we won't. And we'll just tell you. It doesn't matter. But definitely watch this. Watch this if you have seen it.
All right. Wonderful. Let's jump into the quick cap for the first 2 episodes. Wanda and Vision struggle to conceal their powers during dinner with Vision's boss and his wife. In an effort to fit in, Wanda and Vision perform a magic act in their community talent show. Those are the first 2 episodes. Since this is the beginning of the series, why don't we start with our overall thoughts on this show? KB, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. The first 2 are interesting. So I am a fan of sitcoms. You know, I'd like to say I definitely grew up in the era of the 90s sitcoms. So when we had, you know, the Full House, Family Matters, Boy Meets World, when we had all of that, that's kind of the era that I grew up in. But, you know, the people in my house and in my family also watched I Love Lucy, you know, like Bewitched, all of the major sitcoms from other decades. So I am a fan. I've seen tons and tons of these. And I think from that perspective, they did a really good job in the sense that they were able to transform. I think Elizabeth Olsen does a really great job of truly transforming into this kind of magical Stepford wife is what I've been calling her. So I really enjoy that just from a sitcom standpoint. From a plot standpoint, I was like, y'all, what are we doing? So I didn't hate the episodes because they were still enjoyable. But for me, it feels very much like these first two episodes mean nothing to the overall plot. Now, there are a couple of Easter eggs that we have kind of within there. I mean, the commercials you got to pay attention to because the commercials are chock full, which at first I watched and I was like, these commercials are weird. And then I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So, they're giving us some hints in these commercials. So you're seeing a little bit of S.H.I.E.L.D. in there and you have, Stark Industries in there. You're getting a little bit of that. But I still was like, where's this going? They're making dinner for the boss. They're magicians.
I totally see what you're saying. The first episode, I went, if this was just a sitcom about two magical people and this was their sitcom, I would watch the F out of it. I was like, yes, I like this. I like this witch and magic dude who's kind of a robot. I would watch that. That's a sitcom I would watch. And then we get to the dinner part and there's that weird thing. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, okay. Where he's dying. And you're like, and his wife just keeps saying, stop it. And you're like.
Right. So that whole thing, I was like, okay, this is the moment. This is the whole point. Is the whole episode was just this sitcom until this moment, and that's where we're gonna start developing. They're gonna be like, something's off, something's weird, and that's not it. And I went, oh no, this is gonna be long. This is gonna be so long. So had it been just that sitcom, I'm down. I would watch a WandaVision just sitcom period. That should be released even via animation. Just make that a show and put it out because I'm here for it. And then the second episode, I was like, let's get to where we're going. Let's just get there.
I mean, honestly, there was that part where Monica, which her name is not Monica yet, obviously we're in this kind of weird world, but where Monica and Wanda meet, and she's like, I don't feel like I belong here. And I was like, oh, we're getting into it. And then we don't. And so I was like, oh. So I feel like it's one of those, I feel like right now the show is very much patience is a virtue. And so I know that things will pay off. My spirit knows that we're going to get there. But I just feel like these first two episodes, I'm like, okay, we have approximately 4.5 hours across the 9 episodes to tell the story. I kind of feel like we wasted the first hour in terms of plot. Because where are we going? And I'm like, oh no, dang it. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think the radio freak out. I was like, that, let's deal with that. Let's go with that. Follow that. Go. And then nothing. And then and then the end of the episode, which was incredible. And I was like, okay. And that's where we stop. So
she's pregnant, it's like,
is she?
I know, right? I don't know. She has a bump and, Vision is freaking out and also because really they were just sitting there and all of a sudden it's just like, here you are. And he was oh,
to be fair, their beds are separate, so I get why they would be surprised.
I mean, to be fair, I was Vision in that moment because I would have been terrified too if someone's belly just started, growing while you're sitting next to them. I would have been like, so I'm gonna leave and I manage this. I don't know what's happening, but I have to go because that would be terrifying.
Also, I think if I were Vision, my first question would be like, whose is it? Because not mine.
Vision's like, well, technically, I'm a robot, and so I don't know.
Right, we literally saw an animation of what's inside him, and that's not how you make a baby.
So your first question, Vision, to be who's the father? Should we take Vision on Maury? Because I think that he has some questions.
Amazing. So in this spot where we have left off, how would you rate these first 2 episodes? Our rating options are from poop to kitten or spoon in the middle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go spoon only because I definitely enjoyed the sitcom aspects, but I need, even if it's just 7 minutes out of the 30, I need to feel like the plot is going somewhere. And I feel like in the first episode, the plot went literally nowhere, but I got a great sitcom. And then in the second episode, it's like the last 2 minutes, you're like, oh, okay. You know, I think we're going somewhere. So it's just, I need a little bit more time with the plot. But again, I still enjoyed the episodes from just a sitcom perspective. They were delightful. Like, I actually enjoyed Wanda being this master magician, and they were hilarious. Like, I felt like you guys are a dynamic duo on stage in this magic act. It was hilarious. So yeah, you know, I enjoyed that. And I think that the actors do a really great job of, there's a fine balance kind of between getting this right in terms of having your comedic timing work, but also being in the dark, right? Because Wanda doesn't know what's happening, you know what I mean? And being kind of unaware of things. And I think that they strike a really good balance of doing that. So what do you think, Poop to Kittens? How did you feel about it?
That's a really good question. I actually love it. I love that it's very... it reminds me of Legion in that you're like, this is a mind mess. I'm trying not to swear. This is a mind mess. And yeah, it's wild and I'm here for it. But I agree. I definitely expected at that moment at dinner that would set us off at least on like a questioning of what's wrong. And we didn't. So I'm also giving it a spoon because that, like, it's not, if you're going to keep me week to week, we need to start wondering what this mystery is. And the fact that they aren't yet is odd.
Yes, agreed. So I have a question. What are your predictions for the season overall? You know, kind of what do you think we're going to tackle this season on WandaVision?
Here's what I think. I think that we are in a computer simulation or Wanda's head. Here's why. I think that this is her dealing with Vision's death. This is how she's dealing with it. And we're in, like, either his consciousness was somehow uploaded somewhere or something, and she like connected in. And I think we're in a head. I don't think we're in the real world at all. That's my overall prediction. And I may change my mind. Kay-B, where do you stand?
You are free to change your mind. I agree that this is how Wanda is dealing with her grief. I actually don't think that any of this is taking place on Earth. So I think the natural assumption is to think that things are happening on Earth, but we have gotten, you know, kind of the like little bitty nuggets, and they showed these in the trailer too. So it's this trailer, I guess, kind of spoiled it before we even watched the show. But we did see the sword emblem in the trailer. And so I think, you know, people know historically from the comics that sword deals with space. And I don't necessarily think that we are on Earth. And I am here for that because, you know, we've kind of, I don't want to say we've done Earth and in the other phases, but we have, and we haven't really gotten to space in the way that we should. Plus, we know we have Monica Rambeau. Plus, we know, you know, Captain Marvel dealt with space a little bit, but it was like a tip, like the cherry on top of the cake. And the cake was basically everyone dealing with everything on Earth. So we know space travel exists. You know, we know Captain Marvel deals with a lot of space travel and all of these different things. But I feel like why would we be on Earth? We don't necessarily have to be on Earth. So that's kind of my prediction. And I also think that for phase 4, where we're going in totality, not just this show, we have to start dealing with the multiverse. And so, you know, I think Doctor Strange will kind of, obviously in the title, we're dealing with the multiverse of madness. So I think whatever's happening in WandaVision will kind of unlock the door for the multiverse, and we'll get into it. Now, what would be awesome, because SWORD also introduces the X-Men, that would technically be the most fabulous thing ever, but I don't think we're there yet. Like, I think it's way too soon for us to, you know, kind of tackle the X-Men. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Considering the fact that we got zero information in these first 2 episodes. Sorry, that's not fair. A small percentage of information in these episodes. We might change our mind next week based on what happens in episode 3, you know, so.
Right. I agree. I think also, just to go on what you were saying with the sword emblem, if I'm not mistaken, we see it on the helicopter that she finds as well. So like it's been tucked in. So I think you might be onto something. I stand by my theory that we're in her head for now.
I definitely think this is her way of processing grief. So it's going to be interesting to see how she, I don't want to say snaps out of it because that sounds really insensitive, and obviously grief takes a long time to process, but how she kind of comes to, I think is like a better way to put it. But yes. Okay, let's dive into Batwoman. We're here. So the CW verse is back, and we are into the Batwoman premiere season 2. We have a new Batwoman. So here is the quick cap for the premiere. And the episode is titled, "What Happened to Kate Kane?" What happened to Kate? We don't know. So as family and friends hold on to hope that Kate may still be found, a homeless 25-year-old named Ryan Wilder stumbles upon Kate's batsuit. Focused on no longer being a victim, Ryan takes the suit to use as armor and goes rogue in the streets of Gotham, taking out various members of a new gang called the False Face Society. Can I say one thing? When the new gang came up called the False Face Society, I don't know why I immediately thought of Riverdale. Like, I was like, this totally sounds like a gang that would be on Riverdale. Like,
I totally get it.
I was like,
Here's where I'm going to start with this. I am going to be completely upfront and reveal that I did not make it all the way through the first season. I started it. I was very excited, but I could not stick with Ruby Rose. I'm sorry. I watched this episode, and I will say, yes, a few things were confusing and I was a little bit lost, but in the end, I feel like I'm in. I am on track. I know what's happening, and I am in. I am really loving the new story and where we're going. I'm there for it. Kay-B, what do you think?
I will say I think that they did a very good job of addressing Kate's absence, making new viewers, because we all know, like, a lot of people didn't watch season 1. You're not the only one, but a lot of people didn't watch it, and they knew, you know, there would be kind of some new viewers. And I think they tied things in very well. So, like, you know, I think that they purposefully kind of reintroduced you to characters a little bit. Like, it wasn't a lot, but you know Kate's twin sister because they kind of said a couple of extra things to make it known, like, oh, this is her, et cetera, et cetera. So I think they did a fantastic job of just, you know, kind of introducing new viewers to this new version of Batwoman, aka Batwoman 2.0. I actually really enjoyed this episode. I think that Javicia, who plays Ryan Wilder, I think she dove head first. So for me, I actually was surprised how quickly she got to the action. Like, I didn't think she would wear the suit at all, you know, this first episode. I mean, I knew she found it, but I didn't even think she would take it for a spin. So it's real interesting how she immediately was like, oh no, I'm doing this. And so that was kind of nice. Like, she dove right in, even though she didn't know what she was doing. And she also was able to pick up on a lot of things, you know, very quickly. Now, granted, the suit definitely takes some getting used to, so she did not get the tech right in the suit immediately, which makes sense. Because who just knows how to use a super suit? No one. Like, if I found one tomorrow, I would be like, so I appreciate that. I think she's doing a really good job. I like that her backstory is just, I don't know, I feel like her backstory is more fleshed out, like immediately, like you see the relationship with her mom, you understand what's happening. Like, I feel like we just got right into it, and I appreciate that in this episode.
Yes, 100%. I like that it was brought to our attention that she knows martial arts. Like, because I know that when Stargirl was on, I remember episodes in, people were like, how is she able to kick butt? Oh, that's right. She had boxing gloves in the first episode, and we are supposed to put that together. No, this episode went, we don't want you confused. She knows martial arts. She puts on the suit and doesn't know how to use it, which, again, you're right, makes complete sense, 100%, because it's built for someone else. And also, she wasn't expecting that. So I loved that. I also like that she just spits out her story and goes, this is who I am. This is my story, so that we can just get into it. We don't have to spend every episode now learning a little bit about her. We can meet her. I love her. I also love that she gives the suit back and is like, I'm not the one, because I'm like, yes, that's what makes you the one.
Yes. And we know in every superhero saga, the moment that they reject the weight of this is the moment that they truly become who they are meant to be. So I appreciate that. I also will say this little twist with Bruce Wayne, and I was like, oh, okay, this is not Bruce. This is multiverse Bruce. And, well, that person has a different name, but I'm going to call him multiverse Bruce because he's multiverse Bruce. But I thought he was multiverse Bruce.
No, it's the.
Oh no, he's the guy.
He's the guy. The villain in a face.
Yes, in the face. I thought he was from a multiverse at first. I remember watching it and I was like, is he from a different multiverse? No, he is the villain from season 1 who had the face. Sorry, my bad. Yes.
I was like, it took me a minute to remember who that villain even was, because it was the guy from Revenge.
Yes, and Revenge, which also I love. And I want to rewatch. But yes, it is Gabriel.
It's the guy from Revenge. And he put on a face, which is a thing that Alice helps people do. And then
because she did it with her own brother. Well, brother.
Mouse. Yeah. It's honestly, I think that was the most confusing part, was who this fake Bruce was. And the other part was knowing who knows that Kate was Batwoman, because
yeah.
It wasn't readily available. I wasn't sure where her father stood until he was told. And then I guess her stepsister knows, Alice obviously knows, and now the ex knows. And Alfred's daughter knows. That was the other part. I absolutely loved the scene with fake Bruce and Alfred's daughter, where she lays out everything for us. And I also was like, who the hell is that? And so them being like, whatever, Pennyworth, Julia Pennyworth. And I like, got it, Alfred's daughter. Got it.
Yeah, I really feel like, so I think you're right. Because when I originally watched the first episode, I was like, oh, is this multiverse? And then they were like, no, he got a face transplant. And, he really just wants to be Bruce Wayne because he's essentially obsessed with Bruce Wayne. This is what he wants. He wants the codes. He wants the cars. He wants all these things. And I was like, okay, whatever. I love that, like, Luke has a bit of an issue with, kind of just so easily giving up information to fake Bruce. Like, he's like, oh, I trusted him. I thought it was Bruce, and I was just like, it happens to the best of us. Like, I like that was realistic, because you're not going to be able to tell that this is not Bruce. I mean, obviously, Alfred's daughter did know, but that's because she kind of asked him a secret question that only, they would know. But like, how was Luke supposed to know? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I felt bad for him, but I understood why he just automatically assumed it was his friend. Like,
I disagree. I think that the fact that Bruce didn't know how to get to the Batcave, that should have been the moment. Like, that should have been the moment. And I get that Luke's like head is distracted by Kate's disappearance.
Because Kate's. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I feel like we all make mistakes, though. Like, he's probably not even. Well, he definitely was not even thinking about it because he was still trying to figure out, is Kate alive? Is she dead? Where's Kate? But
the way that fake Bruce was like, it's not time to read.
And you're like,
okay, this should have been your clue. But I do appreciate that, like, we wrapped up that storyline, which was clearly a storyline from season 1. Like, we wrapped that up nice and quick so that we can move on with season 2.
Yeah, I felt bad for Luke. I'm like, I get it. Sometimes we are just we're thinking about other things. And honestly, Kate's his priority. Like, Bruce stopped being his priority when he left. I mean, that's a reality, like Kate took up the mantle. He's making suits for her. Like, he's like solely focused on Kate. And so I feel like it was an honest mistake. And I appreciate that because it showed the human side of Luke, which we, don't often get to see when they are kind of like Overwatch and when they are the tech people and they are, trying to get everyone together. I'm like, Luke is human. He makes mistakes. So I liked it. But I think that, the suit looks really good on Javicia. I love this. I actually can't wait until, there's a new suit reveal and it's like more tailored for her because we know right now she just picked up this suit off the ground and she also just picked up that wing and we like, girl, this wig ain't gonna do. But
oddly, it looks
it
better.
Didn't look as bad as Ruby's though. Like,
it looked so much better. Anyway, on a scale from poop to kitten, where do you fall?
Yeah, I really liked this. I am going to give it a kitten because I actually really, really enjoyed, kind of seeing Javicia step into this new world. I'm super excited for her. It is no easy thing to kind of take the lead of a show that's already been happening, especially because you don't know how the fan base, and we all know how comic book fans are. So we all know how we are in this genre, in this fanboy space. And so it's just no easy thing to kind of pick up the cape and do your own thing and make it your own. And I feel like she's still very true to herself. I like that there are really no secrets with her. I mean, in this first episode, you know what I mean? Right. You know exactly what you're getting. And she kind of sets a precedence that I really liked. She's smart. And not just in a street smart way, but she is really brilliant and she's learning life. And so it's interesting. She has a really interesting dynamic that I am excited to see more of. So what about you? From poop to kittens, how are you feeling about Batwoman?
I'm going to be honest. I went in with a spoon. I went in being like, it's going to be fine. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I'm also giving it a kitten. This was a pleasant surprise. I think that they really, it was like, this is where we're going in season 2. We've got this new story. I'm down for it. I think Javicia is killing it. Already amazing. And it does feel very CW drama, but we're not at that annoying point yet. So I'm really liking it. And I do really like the idea that Alice reveals to the dad that Kate was Batwoman. And now now he's going to be like, no, she wasn't. So I really like that we're bringing that stupid thing back.
Guys, how did you not know? It's like the most, I don't know. I feel like in season 1, it was super obvious that Kate was Batwoman. And so I'm just like, sir, but I feel, and I know I just gave Luke grace for not knowing that, this was not really Bruce Wayne. But when I say it was obvious last season, I mean for more than 5 minutes. It was multiple episodes where it's like, sir, now you know your daughter is Batwoman. Please stop. I mean, honestly. Please.
The other thing I really, really enjoyed, and I think that this show did beautifully, was the moments where we have I forget the sister's name reading about the stepsister reading about Ryan, and Ryan reading about Kate, and like that scene is a beautiful way to send off Kate and Ruby Rose's Kate and bring us this new character. It was just such a like elegant way for the show to be like, that's over and this is the new story, and send her off in like a really great positive light.
Yeah, I've been really curious. Mary was actually just getting super close to Kate. And they were really last season developing what I really enjoyed as a sisterly relationship, because it was really hard for Kate, thinking that her twin sister was dead all of those years. So I actually quite enjoyed her relationship with Mary, just because it was almost like a second chance for her. She had grieved, Alice so much in Alice's death that it was like, oh, you finally have another sister in your life that you feel like is supportive and you can confide in, and you just have that family, especially because things were so tense with her father and her stepmother. It was really nice. And because Bruce had left, so literally everyone had left her, I appreciated that, like, she had that bond with Mary. So it is going to be interesting to see, because, now Mary is grieving, and she's actually never had to grieve the loss of a sibling. So now she's kind of navigating that. And so I'm just curious what her relationship with Ryan will be kind of moving forward, because she does still want to help, and she does still want to, be on the crime fighting team. But you don't really know Ryan that well, and you just lost your sister. So I am curious to see how they tackle that. But I do think that this episode was a brilliant first episode. I have been curious all summer, like, how are they going to, because they never explicitly said that they would kill Kate. And that's still not the case in this episode. We do not know that she's dead. She is missing.
Yes, so, sci-fi rules, no body, no death.
Right. So I am, I have been curious, because that does leave the door open, and who knows, what will happen in the future. But I will say, I hope that it doesn't become too campy. Like, I'm hoping that they keep this pace, they keep this tone as the season progresses. That's something that I really, really hope, kind of happens. So what do you think is going to happen on the next episode and this season of the show?
That's a really good question. I think next episode will be Ryan's like, wait, I want to do this. This is my purpose storyline. I really like the character of Mary. I think she's super interesting, and so I want to see more of her. In terms of the overall season, I think the mystery of what happened to Kate, whether she is dead or alive or whatever, I think that will be answered, hopefully sooner rather than later. And I'm interested to see what happens with the False Face Society gang, and how that fits in with Alice and all them. What about
Riverdale crossover? I just know it's a Riverdale crossover waiting to happen. I am hoping by the mid-season finale that we kind of wrap up the Where's Kate Kane portion. The CW verse is known for kind of occasionally wrapping up things in that first kind of mid-season and then introducing something else that carries us over to that season finale. Or sometimes they just have that one consistent thing going and a bunch of small villains in between. They've done both. So I'm hoping that in this regard, we'll wrap up kind of Where's Kate by mid-season, and then kind of go into more of the Face Society, False Face Society, kind of carrying us through the end. I don't necessarily agree that next episode will be her, I want to do this. I think that might take a couple more episodes for her to like actually really truly be like, all right. But I am curious to see the new dynamic between her, Sophie, because Sophie now knows that Kate was Batwoman. So between her, Sophie, Mary, and Luke, I am curious to see kind of what their foursome, because if they work together, they can get Gotham on its toes. Truly, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So, yeah.
Yes.
But also, I'm really sad that Sophie no longer has a boo. I mean, even though her and Kate worked together, they were, because y'all know how it is. So I'm still like, oh, Sophie. So I'm actually also curious if Sophie and Ryan will be a couple.
I really hope that doesn't happen, but I do think that's very reasonable and very believable. And I think that so I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, I'd be like, yeah, that feels like life.
I mean, I will say I just don't necessarily think that we have seen a lot of kind of Black love queer on like relationships on TV. So it would be nice to kind of have that in that regard. Because we don't see it often. Like oftentimes we see it happening in kind of one half of the situation, and there are, kind of a lot of interracial queer couples, but we don't generally see that on TV. So I think that like that would be super awesome. But I also understand if they didn't, and they just plopped in new love interests for them both as the season progresses. But like really high key, I need Mary and Luke to be together. Like I'm just like, guys, that's what I want.
Yeah. I ship that too.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, this is what I need. Yes. All right, so let's get down to it. Our segments. Let's start with the Woman Performer of the Week. Who you going with?
Yes. Okay, I'm going with Elizabeth Olsen for navigating the voices of those generations. I think that was really amazing. Literally in the first episode, I was thinking, wow, remember when she had that accent? And it made me laugh so hard because she's doing like, yes, that accent wasn't great, but the fact that she's doing this like 50s housewifey accent so beautifully, I give her that's where she's getting it.
It's actually quite creepy how good she does it. You know what I mean? Like it's almost I'm like, oh, this is like interesting. I mean, mostly because we don't know what's happening in this world and because she's trying to assimilate. So it's almost like she turns it on and it's just very, I'm like, oh, but she does do a really great job. But my performer of the week is going to go to Javicia. I think that she has proven herself to be a standout as the lead of Batwoman. And I just think she did a phenomenal job. I think I like the background story that they've written for her. I think she executed it exceptionally well. I think she's realistic, she's honest. I just think that she has so many qualities. And as an actress, I think she was really able to pull from a lot of things and it really shines on screen. So I'm going to go with Javicia.
I love that. Let's move it along to the style icon of the week. Where are you going with your style icon?
I'm going Javicia again in the bat suit. So, obviously it's not going to fit to a T because it was made for Kate's body. But I think that she just looked so dope. And like, I was like, for this first fitting and she's putting it on. And, like we mentioned, I don't know how, but this wig looked better on her than, obviously because it was a different wig. We know now, but this wig wasn't, it wasn't like fabulous, but it wasn't terrible. Like she still looked, really good in it. And I was just like, yes, girl. Yes. Of course, she gave it away moments later, but however, she still looked really good in the suit. And she just was like, a powerful force. And I really, really liked that. So who are you going with for character style icon of the week?
I'm going with Alice in her morning outfit when she comes in with the little hat and the thing and the booze. I loved it. The hat really is what like put it over the edge. I was all about it. The dress was very like it fit into the first episode of WandaVision, which was very cute. So yes, Alice in her morning outfit is, looks like she's going to a really kick-ass funeral. She's my style icon.
All right. And now the end. The WTF moment of the week. I think we're on one accord here.
Yes.
Because nothing was really like that shocking about Batwoman. Like, when I think about it, I'm like, I don't really have any WTF moments from Batwoman. But WandaVision, which is still, quite frankly, a giant question mark.
Right.
How are you pregnant?
Prego. Yeah.
How are you pregnant within 30 seconds is really my question.
Also, who's the father?
You really want to know who the father is. And I just feel like if we get to the paternity test era, there's a chance for Mari on this show. For sure.
That's true. She's just got to stay pregnant long enough.
I mean, considering the fact that she got pregnant in, 2.5 seconds with nothing happening, I think that we could make it to Mari. I mean, we could.
So funny. All right. Those are our WTF moments of the week. Don't forget that you can find us here on Sundays, currently at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is 9 p.m. Eastern, right? Yep, that sounds right.
6:15.
6:15. Oh, my bad. We're waiting 15 minutes? All right.
No, remember, we always start 15 minutes because the show ends right at 8.
Oh, yeah, good call. 6:15 p.m. Pacific, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Also, we are currently only discussing WandaVision and Batwoman. As more CW superhero shows roll out, they will be added into our wonderful show. But until then, Kay-B, where can everyone keep up with you this week? What are you up to?
Yeah, just follow me on social media at the Lady Kay-B. It's here, but I will say it. TheLadyKayB. And that's on Instagram and Twitter. And, if you so happen want to subscribe and listen to other things, I am the season 2 host of the Color Grade podcast. So you can check that out on all of your favorite podcast platforms. I am here on Sundays with Yael at Super Lady Hero Hour. And if you happen to want to check out my crazy interviews with some of your fave artists and talent and actors and directors and writers, then you can subscribe to Through the Lens of Lady Kay-B and see my interviews. So Yael, how about you? Where are you this week? And what are we playing on Twitch?
I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. Twitch will be just on Wednesday. I am taking Martin Luther King Day off. And I don't know what I'm playing. Oh, I think I'm playing a game called Operation Citadel. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to play. We're going to find out together. That is at twitch.tv/Yael Tygiel. Also, if you are looking for something to watch on a streaming platform, check out Streaming Wars over on that hashtag show. We are now literally battling out for which streamer is the best one that week. So check that out everywhere on that hashtag show's platforms and channels. I think that's all I need to tell you about. We will be back next week for more Super Lady Hero Hour. Thanks for joining us. Bye, everybody.